So, as you can tell by the title, you know what we're talking about here. Now, I'm gonna have a lot of images of them in this video that are kind of controversial. And I know a lot of people have different views on them too, and I see them as bad people for obvious reasons. But today we're gonna be going over the history of the Ku Klux Klan, better known as the KKK. Very controversial group with a long history that started in the Civil War. And that they are literally taught in my schools or just mentioned. So we're gonna have to be staying with their activities from the Civil War to the Civil Rights movements, because they're mentioned most in the card. So let's not make this long, and from the Black Men section from Story of America cards. Also, one more thing, if you get offended in any way by this, then just don't read or watch it wherever you I'm seeing this video. For those still here, let's get on with the history. The Ku Klux Klan, also known as the KKK, is an American white supremacist, right-wing terrorist and hate group. They primarily target are African Americans, Jews, Latino, Asian Americans, Catholics, and Native Americans, as well as immigrants, leftists, homosexuals, Muslims, and atheists. That's a lot of people to hate, in my opinion. As they rode through the night in their hooded white robes, the members of the Ku Klux Klan inspired fear among the blacks and former slaves who were their targets. Known as the KKK, the Klan remains a group of secret societies with strange rituals that came into being in the South shortly after the end of the Civil War. The original Ku Klux Klan was founded in 1866 in Pulaski, Tennessee, by former Confederate soldiers. Their organization consisted of a chief exclusive, the Grand Wizard, and states, realms, ruled by governors, Grand Dragons. When the Klansmen saw that their night rides, cross burnings, and other activities frightened the superstitious ex-slaves, they began to engage in elaborate imitation. Their hooded costumes provided them a anomaly which protected them from liability for criminal acts. Because the South was then in the midst of the bitter Reconstruction period, the Klan gradually widened its score and purpose to include the maintenance of white supremacy and overthrow the local Reconstruction governments. By 1871, its growth in size and violent activity aroused Congress to press the Ku Klux Klan acts in the attempt to stop the Klansmen. As a result, their central organization was officially disbanded, although many local groups survived. And while many of its members have been arrested, the Klan, though, through the imitation, did accomplish their major objectives. Rights again controlled local governments in the South. Blacks no longer voted, and despised carpetbaggers from the North had been expelled. In November 1915, the Klan was revived by William J. Simmons. The new Klan, KKK, adopted rituals, costumes, and beliefs similar to the original Klan, but it added Jews, Catholics, and immigrants to its list of those groups whom it wished to imitate. The second Klan, which had claimed some 5 million members in the 1920s, burned crosses, abducted and abused minority groups' members, and generally resorted to violence to achieve the goals. But the excuses again arose public outrage, and by the 1930s, membership was reduced to about 9,000. I hate when I stutter. In 1944, the U.S. government assisted the Klan more than $500,000 in the back taxes, and the organization was formally disbanded in order to avoid legal action. Later, during the civil rights movements that followed, the U.S. Supreme Court's ruling on school discrimination in 1954, the KKK membership picked it up, although it never achieved the great numbers or power it boasted after the Civil War.
According to legend, in the 1930s there was a black man named Oscar Washburn who was a prosperous goat herder. He placed a sign at the foot of the Alton Bridge that enraged the local Ku Klux Klan. In the dark of the night, they lynched Oscar on that very same bridge.
So here's a little ghost story tied to the Klan. This story is mentioned in Ghost Adventures episode 18 of season 15 of the show. The story goes that in the 1930s or 1938, from another source I read, an African American goat herder by the name of Oscar Washburn was lynched by the KKK because he put a sign on the bridge that you may know as the Goatman's Bridge. Yes, that bridge. So the sign said, "This way to the Goatman," and the local Klansmen did not like it, so they did what their group does best, by lynching people. But as they did so and went to look at the remains of what they have done, surprisingly and mysterious, Oscar's body was gone, and not even on the rope he was lynched on. Also, there are no signs that he had dropped it into the water, by the way. Just want to point that out there. And so after that, with nothing to know what happened, they burned down his house and killed his family. It says his ghost haunts Goatman's Bridge to this day as a half-human and half-goat vengeful spirit, or something much worse. And that is the history of the Ku Klux Klan from the Story of America cards. This card happened to be recommended to me, and I decided to make a video on it. So if you want to recommend the card you want me to make a video on next, or the topic, I'll look for it, but I have to have the card in order to make it, and add it to the list of my videos to make it in order. I can pick 2 cards at a time, so be sure to add it in the comments, and the category 2 will be helpful as well to find it. And so I'll see you next time when I make another video.